Hi guys, so today is Friday. I think it's 1 something or 2 something in the morning. It is 1:12 and I am picking up right where I left last vlog. So this day is actually really exciting. I'm going to the Grand Canyon National Park. I have never been to the Grand Canyon National Park, even though I've lived in Arizona my entire life. I've been to a part of the Grand Canyon before, but it's not the national park. It's actually on Native American land. It's called Havasupai. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Once you get there, the hike there is 10 miles with your pack and everything. So it's not my favorite, moment getting there, but being at the bottom and with those turquoise waters is gorgeous. But the really massive, gorgeous view that everybody thinks of when they think of the Grand Canyon, I have never seen it. But I found out that there were these really cool domes, basically. It's like glamping. I, for Mother's Day, thought it would be really fun for my mom and I to go, but we just had a lot of stuff going on, and so we scheduled it for today, later today, literally. I'm not gonna get any sleep. I'm so excited. I have mentioned before that I really love traveling. I didn't get to do a lot of it growing up. I obviously didn't get to do much of it last year, but I'm just excited to be able to go somewhere. I haven't done something, just me and my mom, in so long, and my mom is also very ready. Her reading tastes are a little different from mine. She really likes kind of thriller type stories, mystery type stories, those sorts of things, and I've been seeing some buzz for the book The Maidens, and this one sounds just right up her alley. It says that Edward Fosca is a murderer. Of this, Mariana is certain, but Fosca is untouchable. A handsome and charismatic Greek tragedy professor at Cambridge University, Fosca is adored by staff and students alike, particularly by the members of a secret society of female students known as the Maidens. But Mariana Andros is she's convinced that this guy is a serial killer. This just sounds like something that my mom would really enjoy, and I texted her about it and she's like, yeah, bring it. That's the plan for this weekend. So I'll update you as we read it. Very nice.
Why are you laughing at me?
Really nice pose.
Hi! We are at the beautiful Grand Canyon. Giant hole in the earth. Very hot.
Our pizza box. Pizza.
Hi.
Okay, go to the next one.
I don't know what what this is. I really don't.
It's okay.
These are insects that are like little flash.
Fireflies.
Yes. This is, you know when you sleep and there's a picture in your head? What do you call that?
A dream.
Yeah. And so you're not an adult, you're a...
Dream child? Dream kid?
You're over 12.
Dream teen? Dream teenager? Was that what it was?
Teenage Dream.
Oh, that's a song by Katy Perry.
Well, I don't know that. Oh, she's beautiful and she's on Modern Family.
Sofia Vergara.
Yes. Stupid. I ran out. I ran out of time.
You can go again. You finally got one. You knew.
I know, right? I don't know. These guys hang around coffee shops and dress.
Hipsters.
So this is what everybody posts shit on.
Facebook, the internet,
Yeah,
social media.
But you post things and people can see when.
Facebook timeline.
Yes. I don't know who this is. I don't know what this is. I don't know what that is. Justin
Timberlake?
No.
Bieber.
Yes, and then what's this?
Bieber hair?
Yep. I don't know who that is. I don't know what that is. This is the number sign everybody's putting in front of everything. Oh my gosh, the clock's running out. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how to say this either. I don't have enough time. It's over. Let's try again. Wait. Okay. I need a new era. I need, like, I don't know what I need. This is an expression I don't think you'll know. Oh, this is something I know nothing about.
Game of Thrones.
Yes.
That's why you don't know who any of these people are.
I know. I don't know what this is. I don't know what that is. I don't know who that is. What the heck? This is my...
Pinky?
Yeah, but it's
finger.
Not big.
Little finger.
Yes.
It's a Game of Thrones thing, too.
Oh, okay. Ooh. I don't know, the clock's making me nervous.
Alrighty, so we're getting ready to leave. I wanted to give you all a look at the room, but also point out some things that seem to be hiccups. They just opened these, so I think some hiccups are normal and that's gonna happen, but there's supposed to be a mural of the Grand Canyon over on this back wall. None of the pictures on the website or the descriptions of the room have anything like this listed, and I don't think this is a finished room. An example of why is because there's supposed to be a cover over this. There's even a thing over here where they show you're supposed to get a remote to cover the sunshade, and in the kind of checkout instructions they ask that you close the shade when you leave, and we don't have one. And that was kind of a really big deal because, you know, this isn't a very large space and the bed kind of makes up the majority of it, and it's very hot in Arizona, so for a lot of our stay we just kind of had to sit over here in the corner because the sun would beam down so much. It would get so hot in here, and obviously we're not talking about an insulated thing, right? This is glamping, so it's this kind of tent-like material. So we would close our curtains over here, and we even tried putting a towel over that to keep sunlight from coming in there, but it was so hot in here. And there is an air conditioning unit, but it wasn't really able to keep the heat because when the sun's beaming down directly on you, it's kind of difficult. So there was that aspect. And then also, I don't know if eventually this is supposed to be a kid's room in the future and they're not done or something, but there's pencil marks, it looks like, which at first I was thinking, well, maybe it's supposed to look childlike because they do have some child rooms available, but I'm not sure. This looks like, this over here looks like measurements. I don't know too many kids that draw with a line through their 7s, but I don't think this room was finished. So I'm not sure what happened, but I heard some of the employees, they have a food truck for food, which is I think really cute and really fun. And I heard one of the employees saying they live on the site, or they're supposed to, but their rooms aren't done yet. And I'm not sure if they overbooked or something and then gave us one of the unfinished employee tents or something. But you know, the whole concept of this experience, I would recommend if we were given the room we were supposed to with a cover and everything. But when you have to kind of huddle in the corner of your room to avoid the heat, and I mean, that's what we were here for, is to just kind of hang out. I don't know, I wouldn't recommend it, and I feel really bad saying that, but again, they're new. Hopefully we just got some hiccups and a bad thing. I mean, after we were put in our room, I got a text message saying we'd been refunded, which I thought that was because they made us wait an hour and a half past checkout to get in, because we came in at 1, which is early, and asked if our tent was available, because sometimes they have it. And they said no, that it wouldn't be available till 4, which was fine. So we came back a little after 4, and ours still wasn't ready. And we had to wait an hour and a half, which was a little, I mean, I've never had that happen, but we had to wait an hour and a half. They bring us to this room, and then I get a text that I have a refund. And at first I was like, I guess maybe because they made us wait, which is very generous, they refunded us almost the entirety of the cost. But at the same time, I think the reason they did it is because they put us in an unfinished tent. And I wish they would have told us and given us an option to say, we overbooked, we already sent your room to someone else, so, you know, here are our options, you can stay in this room. And then if they had showed it to us or said we can put you up in a nearby hotel or something. I'm just grateful we live in Arizona, we're only a couple hours away. If we had lived somewhere out of state and we flew all the way out here, that'd be kind of a mess. Also, I'll add on their website, it lists like there's little in-room fireplaces, and maybe they don't, I think the one we got was supposed to have one, but it didn't. And we booked all the way back in January. This wasn't a last minute booking. And again, we came here at 1, which was weird. If you get here early to ask if a room is available and they say no, and that's fine. But then when you come back at normal check-in time and the room is still not, because I asked, well, is there a way we'll know which dome is ours so that when we come back, we can park by it? And they said, we won't know until 4. But if that's the case, then why would you give us the unfinished room? You knew we were here. I don't know. It kind of seemed like there were some hiccups with all this. But also, one more thing, and I don't know for a fact, but this, they have a telescope in the room, which I think is really cool. I don't know if this is just a cleanliness precaution where they have different pieces for each person that comes in, but it kind of seems like this wasn't set up either. So overall, like I said, maybe when everything gets finished up, then it will be a good experience. But one more thing I'll mention, the bathroom I love. I think it's really cool. But my mom, the first night we got in, went to take a shower and it leaked all over the room. So I don't know. And I feel bad. I mean, I've told you guys stories about when I was in Iceland and the heater in our camper van broke, and you know, stuff goes wrong, and I'm understanding of that, but I just wouldn't want anyone else to experience this. So hopefully if you ever book here, you maybe can make sure that you know ahead of time, are we for sure getting this room? Because I think if you got the right room, you would have a great time. Hi guys, so it is Friday. It's been officially 1 week since I started the reading vlog. Before I get into a reading update really quick, I know a lot of you are also video game fans, and often when I wear video game shirts, you're all kind of curious where I got them. So I just thought I'd show you really quick. I love this t-shirt. I got it from GameStop and I got it recently. So they should hopefully still have it at your local GameStops or maybe online. But anyway, that aside, getting into the books. So I finished 2 books, The Maidens, the one that we brought on our trip, and then also I have finished The Wolf of Oren-Yaro, and I'm going to be starting The Martian. Starting with The Maidens, a little bit of a recap. This is a thriller that follows a woman who is convinced that the Greek tragedy professor at her niece's college is murdering people, and so she's kind of trying to use her therapy skills to determine what is going on. And it's one of those books that every single character you meet, you're constantly wondering, is this the person? Is this the person? Is this the murderer? And I personally figured it out. My mom and I, on our trip, I don't have the physical copy with me because I let her borrow it, and then I finished it digitally. But I had only gotten to roughly, I think it was around 100 pages. I was definitely less than 100 pages in. And my mom and I are on the way back from the Grand Canyon. We stopped to get lunch, and I was like, okay, here's my theory. Here's what I think's going on. And I told her, and she was like, oh, okay. And she was telling me who she thought. And then I texted her, and I was like, I just finished it, and I was right. I was patting myself on the back because I don't read thrillers very often, and I was really proud of myself that I figured it out. But I don't think that it's necessarily extremely predictable. I think I'm just stubborn, and once I decided, oh, it's this person, I was like, I'm going to hold true to it, because if I'm right, then I can say I called it. So I don't think it's necessarily underwhelming and that it's so predictable that it's not going to be fun. I definitely had a really good time with it, but I also thought it tapped into a lot of things about mental health and compassion. I really liked the way that the author weaved in the Greek tragedy aspect of the story. It was very atmospheric because it takes place at Cambridge, and so it was kind of rainy and dark. If you like dark academia, I think you'll really like this one. It was very entertaining. I had a really good time with it. Really glad I picked that one up. I'm now very curious to see what this author does next. I know that he's the same author who wrote The Silent Patient, and I'm pretty sure he ties together something. He kind of shouts out his own character from that other book, so now I want to go back and read that one. It was definitely a nice, refreshing thing to pick up between a lot of fantasy stuff. But speaking of fantasy and getting into The Wolf of Oren-Yaro, so this kind of came out of nowhere. I haven't had this really on any TBRs recently, but I just decided that I wanted this week to be a little bit of a mood reader type of week, because I made my summer TBR, and I said in that video, my summer TBR is more so starting in July. So mood reading wise, I was like, this is the time to do it. So I wanted to have a sci-fi book, which, like I said, I'm going to read The Martian this weekend. I wanted to have the thriller, and I was like, I gotta have some fantasy in there. So I was looking at my shelves, and I decided to pick this one up, and I read it in a day. I read it in a day, which I can't remember the last time I wrote a fantasy book that quickly. It's not necessarily extremely short. It's 400 plus pages, so it's not super chunky, but it's also not extremely short, and there's a lot of world building details that I think could potentially make it slower for some people. But getting into the plot, if you've not heard of this one, we follow a queen whose husband 5 years ago left. You don't really know exactly what caused this divide between them, but he left the kingdom. She is the queen. They have a son together. He's very young, and there's all these warlords that are constantly making ruling this particular land very difficult. And our character has an opportunity to interact with her husband and possibly patch things up for the good of the kingdom. And then that's where the story kind of goes from there. I'm a very character-driven reader, and I think this book delivered on that, though I have seen some people find the main character to be a tad insufferable, but I actually really liked the character because, yes, she can be very frustrating for a lot of the book. She thinks of herself very much as, I'm not pampered like all these other nobles and things like that, but then when she's put in a situation where people don't just do her bidding, she gets all frustrated and doesn't, like, why aren't these people, don't they understand who I am? And it's kind of funny to see that, and it's first person narration, so I think it was done intentionally where it's kind of an unreliable narrator to some degree, but what I really enjoyed was that we get to see this character grow, and she goes through it. It's gonna feel a little bit, I think, plotless for a bit, because when I picked it up, I was like, what are we doing here for a little while, because I loved the very beginning, and then I was not sure where we were going, and then it kind of pulled me back in, and like I said, she goes through it, so I really enjoyed seeing how she had to try and outwit certain situations and people, how she tried to be scrappy and get herself out of things, but then there's also this little bit of a mystery throughout the story, wondering what happened with her husband. Talks about how she killed someone, so you're wondering, who did she kill? I'm hoping to do an entire dedicated review for this one, so I'll have that up in the future. But anyway, for this weekend, I'm super excited to start The Martian. I know my friend Jessie May, who has her own channel, she absolutely loves this one. I don't pick up a ton of sci-fi, but I've heard this one is great for people who don't read a ton of sci-fi. I'll let you know my thoughts though as I read it. Hi guys, so it is Monday now. We're gonna be wrapping up the vlog talking about The Martian. So I ended up DNFing this one. I made it about a third of the way through the book, and there was not really anything that I liked about it. I think the mechanics of the writing are fine. So I don't think it reads really clunky or anything like that. For those of you who don't know the premise, I think most of you do, it's very popular, but we follow a man who is stranded on Mars, and he's using his botany skills as well as some knowledge of engineering and chemistry to try and stay alive. Eventually, we are able to get contact with him, as in people on Earth, but it's not like you can just go pick him up or something, right? So he has to try to stay alive until help can maybe come. I really do enjoy a good survival story. It's been a long time since I've read one, and the thing that I very much enjoy about survival stories, there's a couple things. One is feeling like you can imagine yourself in that position, and then trying to think whether or not you could do whatever it is the characters are having to do to stay alive. It's putting yourself in that position and then seeing like, oh wow, I would definitely die. To me, I'm actually so surprised that so many people love this, because I didn't feel like I ever was worried about the character, which is not what I want in a survival story. He not only seems to have a solution to every problem, he'll have something go wrong, but then he instantly is like, that's okay, I can just do this instead. But on top of that, he has such an overwhelming amount of optimism to the point where, in my opinion, it felt unrealistic. I never really got to see him dwell and despair and push through that despair, because that would have been impressive to me. It's kind of like in stories when they say, you know, to be fearless, it's not really impressive to be fearless. It's impressive to have fear and push onward anyway, to conquer that fear. And in this instance, I didn't feel like he ever really was that worried, and so I'm like, well, then I'm not worried. You're gonna be fine. And then what's the point? Because it's a survival story. I want to worry about you, and I'm not worried about you at all. And the way it's written is a lot of almost like journal entries. So I would think, would be able to see some of his deepest, most sorrowful or desperate thoughts. And I get that he's kind of laying out some information for if anybody ever finds these journals, these logs. But it's not like he only includes the science stuff. He's also including, like, today I watched some really cheesy old 70s show, or today I listened to this band. He's talking about some of these more trivial things that he's experiencing, but we get trivial things and we get a ton of scientific things, and then I feel like we rarely get any emotions. And there are times when, I'm so sorry to rant about this, but there are times when the opportunity could happen. So for example, after he is thought to be dead, when he's first stranded there, he thinks like, it's been 10 days since I've died, and it's Thanksgiving, and everybody's probably at my family's house, and my parents, like, that's gotta suck for them because it's probably a downer, but I'll just have to live, and then everything will be fine. And I'm like, that was a great opportunity. Think back on your family. Think about the things you want to live for. Think, or even have a perspective of the family members who are in mourning or something. But instead it was just constant optimism, constant science, and then constant optimism, and then a super immature comment. And that's the part that really pushed me a little bit over the edge. The main character is so immature, and seems strangely naive. And I'll give an example. So at one point he has contact with people on Earth, and they're letting him know, hey, watch your language because this is going to be broadcast and people are going to be able to see this. And so he ends it with, look, a pair of, and then he just is referencing a woman's chest, but he does the like little parentheses with periods in between so that it looks like a woman's chest. And I'm just like, I don't care. In a fictional setting, I don't care about this character at all. If there was a real man stranded on Mars, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this poor human being, we have to save them. But with this guy, I'm like, whatever. Let me know your thoughts on this one and also on The Maidens and The Wolf of Oren-Yaro if you have read them. Let me know if you want to pick them up. Let me know just in general how you're doing, what you're reading. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.